it's virtually impossible to sustain the virtues for very long from the old state of consciousness, because the old state of consciousness is dominated by ego.
One of the greatest difficulties is handling this issue of ego and keeping it under control. So we need to reveal who we are, but we also need to master the art of who we are presented as our best, as it serves us and our children, as it serves us and our friends, as it serves us in our business.
Your conscious awareness. It's what looks out behind those eyeballs. What is that? It isn't cells. It's some kind of conscious awareness that you are. And make no mistake about it, you've occupied a whole lot of bodies already. If 99% of who you are, you can't touch and you can't feel and you can't smell, then what is it? Who is it? Where are you? What is this thing called your essence or who you are? And where does it go?
As scientists delve deeper into the nature of what causes things to be as they are, they find themselves immersed in an unseen world of infinite intelligence, acting in a lawful and purposeful manner. What we encounter in the physical world appears to be but a manifestation of invisible cause.
The kingdom of heaven, which I translated, as you may remember, as the dimension of formlessness or the dimension of spaciousness, is within you. And there's only one thing that matters, and that is to find within you that dimension of consciousness and then live from that dimension of consciousness.
But it is a constant and it never ends. But if we can make a personal appeal to ourselves, I want to constantly work on developing the positive side of my nature and do my best to suppress that darker side that would not allow me to be most of what I can possibly be. I think that's what's important.
Of course, it is better that somebody should at least attempt to cultivate the various virtues. To cultivate this, it's a wonderful intention, and it's better than not trying to cultivate it, but ultimately you won't really succeed unless there's a shift in consciousness in you that is primary.
Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion, not to do what someone else says. Take what someone else says, process it, think about it, ponder it. If it makes you wonder, if it makes you think, then it's valuable. Then when you go take action, make sure that the action is not what somebody told you to do. Make sure the action is the product of your own conclusion.
A lot of people say, I want to quieten my mind, and then they struggle in meditation, but trying to quieten the mind is a thought, so it's also the mind. So you can't use the mind to quieten the mind, right? All you have to do is ask yourself, what am I aware of right now? And then favor the awareness instead of the experience, because the experience is a projection of the mind. Awareness is independent. Awareness is infinite possibilities. It's limitless. It's beyond imagination. It's infinite. It's the real you that recycles as body-mind. People talk about reincarnation, but reincarnation is happening every second. Every thought that you have is a reincarnated thought. Every perception that you have is actually a recycled perception. We just get bamboozled as soon as we're given a name. So, I was given a name, Deepak Chopra. Now, that is a symbol of who I am. It's not who I am. But, if you repeat somebody's name enough, you're David, you're David, you're David, then the poor kid is screwed because he thinks he's David, when in fact he's the infinite being with a name called David. So, you're not your name. Your name is a symbol of who you are. If I'm looking at a menu in a book, and all these beautiful dishes are there, I can't eat the menu. Okay. So we use words as symbols. And of course, spiritual literature says first there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and God, became the Word or whatever. There's some truth in that. As soon as you use words, you create form. So if I asked you, what is this? You'd say it's a book. But actually, it's a color. It's a shape. It's a form. If a baby was looking at this book, it would be squiggles, shapes, forms, and colors. No idea that this is a book and the baby is called David. No idea. It's a joyful experience because the baby would see this and everything else as itself and would fall, in fact, is in love with existence. All you have to look at is a baby. The only time it says is when it's hungry or it's wet. Otherwise, it's in bliss. And why is it in bliss? Because it hasn't been bamboozled by constructs. If people could understand the magnificence of who they are, that their fundamental state is bliss and joy and awareness and existence, which is timeless. See, the body is in time, the mind is in time, every thought is in time, every perception is in time, every image you have in your mind is in time, except you, the one that's awareness. So once you get to that, this is what is called the spiritual experience. It's also actually the original religious experience. Whether it's Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha, it doesn't matter. The religious experience is just three things. First, you know yourself beyond body and mind. Second, you have the emergence of Platonic truth, which is goodness, harmony, peace, empathy, compassion, love, kindness, joy. And the third religious experience, not religion, I'm not talking about religious dogma, religious experience, loss of the fear of death. If you have those three things, you know your true self, you have the emergence of what we call Platonic values, truth, goodness, beauty, harmony, love, compassion, joy, equanimity, and you lose the fear of death. What left? You're free.